Let me see a show of hands. How many people here feel over-recognized? That they're... one? Love too much? Anybody here just love too much? Over-appreciated? So how many moments do you have during the day? 20,000. And how many, just a handful of those moments, if we got more discipline and practice? Because we know we need to be doing that, but under the pressure of time, we forget. So which of these buttons best represents your mindset, right? Which of these buttons best represents your mind? Is it the play button? Or is it the fast forward? You get on an elevator, you're going up a couple floors, you push 3, and the button lights up. How many more times do you push 3? Yeah. And so the door's starting to close, and actually you're the only one in the elevator, and you're feeling pretty good, because now you're going to have a couple moments by yourself. As the door's almost closed, you hear this voice call out, hold the elevator. And what do you do then? You push the close button, of course. When people can't operate at our speed, it starts to frustrate us, right? It's people in line at the supermarket. It doesn't matter, traffic. If they can't operate at our speed, we start to get frustrated. So why don't we think as much? And part of the challenge is we just don't think we have time. We don't think we have time, and we're losing that capacity because of the pressure, these logistical lives we live, to keep fitting things in that we never stop and think. And I know for myself, whenever I kind of screw something up, I always ask myself, Mike, what were you thinking? And the response usually is, I wasn't, right? I wasn't thinking. So between stimulus and response, so here's the first strategy. Between stimulus, someone says something to you, something happens, and response, I say something back or I act out or whatever, there's this space. There's this space and time, right? So the best strategy often for filling that space is hitting the pause button. 2 groups, they ran this experiment with 2 different groups. One group, they actually, before they got on the phone, they just spent less than a minute kind of envisioning what that person on the other line is going through. They're in a call center. They're sitting in a tiny cubicle, probably not being paid well, thinking they'd rather be doing something else. And so just in a few seconds empathizing, and the other group did nothing. They did their normal, had to go through the maze and became frustrated and mad. But the group that empathized always got much better results, spent less time on the phone, and reported a much better experience. They reversed it. They had the call center people actually empathize about the people who'd be calling in. Just spent a few seconds wrapping their mind around what it feels like to have to go through our maze of stuff. And again, just in a few seconds, they were able to get tremendous results in terms of how fast the calls went, how they were able to satisfy the customers in this process. What do you notice about these 2 different lists? One's kind of the opposite, but what's interesting is less than 1% of the time, when I've done this hundreds of times, no one ever talks about competency. No one ever says, you know, my boss isn't strategic, or he doesn't know how to work this program, or he doesn't know how to project manage. Everything they talk about is relational. As a country, we're probably at our most divisive point ever. And you can see it. You see it in the news. Just look at Congress. They don't want to compromise. They want to demonize, right, the other party. And we know it's not productive. And these are our leaders, right? These are our models. So that's why I wrote a book last year, because I've been working in organizations, and I keep seeing all the slack removed. This is not working. Our cultures are not unifying, whether it's our schools, our hospitals, our businesses. We're losing that capacity to come together in a unified way. And part of that issue is our capacity to empathize.